Welcome to New Day Cleveland. I'm David Moss. We're in the kitchen today and we're going to make a little turkey breast. It's just not for Thanksgiving. No, no, no. And when we make this turkey breast, we're going to prepare a brine for this, and we're going to make this in a way where you can make it in the oven at 350 degrees. You can make it on your gas grill at 350 degrees. Just put it on the side where the gas burners aren't indirect heat, or you can put it in a smoker or a big green egg over indirect heat. 350 degrees, about an hour and a half, and you've got like a delicious item, and it starts with the brine, so let's do that. I've got a couple cups of water in here, and I've got it warming up a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to drop 2/3 of a cup of kosher salt in there. And the reason I'm warming the water up is because I want to dissolve the salt, or else I'm going to have crunchy brine. I don't want crunchy brine. So I get that going a little bit. And next thing I'm going to put in is a 1/2 cup of honey, and this really makes it delicious. And what I did with the honey is I line the cup with a little bit of olive oil, and when you put the olive oil inside the cup and then put the honey on top of it, the honey jumps right out of the cup, so it's pretty good. Otherwise, you'd be standing there all day going like, when is this going to be done? Okay, so we got that under control. That's in there. I've got some garlic. We're going to put 4 cloves of garlic in there, and all you got to do is like sort of rough chop them. Just give them a couple little rough chops like that. No big deal. 4 cloves. We're going to put that in. And I like the idea of warming this up also because it brings some of those flavors out of the garlic cloves. We're going to put 2 bay leaves in here. Load those little bay leaves. I'm going to turn the heat up a little bit so I can get that going. So the turkey breast I have over here is about a 5-pounder, and I got that Wenix Meats at the West Side Market. They had a whole turkey. They didn't have a whole turkey breast. And you know what? That guy just carved it right out of there for me, so it was fantastic. So Wenix is great. Then I went over to Don Whitaker's to get the other one that I cooked earlier today that I'm going to show you guys, and Natalie is going to have a chance to enjoy. Okay, that looks like that's dissolved for me pretty good. Here's another little tip. These are juniper berries. I mean allspice berries. These are allspice berries. And I've got to put them in a little bag. I wanted them crushed. I think that's better than chasing them all around the room, because if you put them on the cutting board, they're going to roll. Like rock and roll. Okay, so we got a little flavor there. What else do I want to put in here? We're going to put some ginger in, believe it or not. So here's a little ginger root. And you know, it's a pain in the butt to peel it, but you don't have to peel it for this because this is just a brine. So we're talking about 2 tablespoons of this. And we're going to put that in here. Pretty nice, huh? I look around the table. It looks like everything is in there. It smells pretty good already. The brine is doing a good job. Give it a little stir. Now here's what I'm going to do. It looks like everything is dissolved. I've got this big pot, or you can use a big bag, but you got to let this all cool down before you put it in a big bag, or else the big bag will blow up and then you got a big mess. So anyhow, the big bag is cool. That's how I usually do it. But since we're doing it here today, what I did was I put a pot on here with a big ball of ice in there, and I'm going to put in my brine. Turn off this burner so I don't burn the hair off my elbow. And I'm going to put a little more water in here just to cool it down. And that's all going to melt. And what's going to happen next is we're going to take our turkey and we're going to put it in the brine. Just like that. Now when that melts, our turkey is going to be totally underneath the brine, as you can see. So what you want to do is you want to add enough water. We'll wait till the ice melts, but we're going to add enough water so it just barely covers it, the same way in the bag. If you do it in the bag, man, it is really neat because you can roll it around, and you're going to leave it in there for about 12 hours. And you know, you can do it in 4 hours or something like that, but if you do it in 12 hours, it's perfect. If you do 16 hours, 17 hours, it might start to get a little too salty, so I'm a little careful about that. So that's done. We're not going to look at that one for another 12 hours, but since I got ahead of the game, what we're going to do is we're going to take the one out of the oven. When you're baking this thing or roasting this thing at 350 degrees, you take it out of that brine. You dry it off, then you pat about 3 tablespoons of a nice powder, a nice dry rub, your favorite dry rub, all over it. And after it cooks about 45 minutes, you baste it in some beautiful butter. That's all you have to do. About an hour and a half, 2 hours for a really big one. And you're going to have something that looks like this. Now I'm going to show you how to carve it, which is going to be sort of fun. Come on, little rascal. So here's what it looks like. So check that out, huh? That ain't ugly, it's beautiful. And here's the deal on this thing. When you're cooking it to 165 degrees, that's the temperature we're going to. You could use a thermometer. See, I've got a thermometer. Well, here's the one right here you see in the grocery store. They're not always there, right? So what do you do if they're not there? You have to have your own. And it's better to have your own anyway, that way you know what's really going on. So up here, I've got this one that I plugged in here, and it goes into an electronic device. So let me move your attention over to this area over here. And you've got, this is what's on the wire. So you put this in the oven, and this part stays outside. Or while you're cooking it, you can stop once in a while and stick something like this in it, which is great to get 165. Or you can get something like this meter, M-E-A-T-E-R. You put it in the turkey halfway. It tells you how hot the oven or the grill is, and the inside tells you how hot the turkey is. So when it gets to 165, you look at your telephone. It goes to your telephone, and your telephone says, "Hey, dummy, take the turkey out of the oven or out of the grill," and you got the perfect deal. So we're going to carve this up. I'm going to show you some nice sauces that'll be fun to go with this. Natalie will join us. That all happens right after the break.
Well, I'm going to take over the cooking segment today because, well, I know what I'm doing here in the kitchen. David's...
We are working in the kitchen here. We are working in the kitchen here today, lady. How are you?
How are you?
You know, we always think of sweet potatoes and gravy and all that kind of stuff with turkey, but I thought here might be a nice alternative for the summer. I got some tomatoes, not for you, some lettuce, some nice bread.
You did put salt and pepper on them, so maybe they are for me. I just love that yesterday we were talking about the fact that there wasn't much food on the show today, and I thought, man, I need a carb to go with this turkey. And look at what you went and did.
Well, we'll see what happens here. So here we go. We got this turkey here, folks. And what you want to do is you want to tilt it up so that the big side is down. And then you want to get into the turkey like this, along the bone.
This looks so good. The seasoning, the spices on that.
You know what's really cool about
Burned
this
that
is
puppy
I missed my finger.
really well. That's good. We don't want you...
And then we're going to turn on this side.
You know that I can't help you if that happens.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're in trouble.
I'll faint.
Yeah, right. So this one was about 7 pounds.
It's a nice size.
Yeah.
How many people you think that can feed, did you say?
People like you or regular people?
People, well, both. Me, just one. That's my serving. For regular people, I mean, could you serve 4 with that?
I think you could serve a lot more than 4. I mean, this is going to be great.
Clearly, I like my portions big.
Yeah, I told you. So here's what it's going to look like. So just reach in and grab some.
Okay.
Tell me what you think.
Oh, it is so moist. Like just when you pick it up, there's so much juice to this already.
165 degrees.
Wow.
Is it good?
That's really, really good. The flavoring of it is spectacular.
So I got that nice Orlando bread there. That's their super grain bread, which is just fantastic. It's wonderful. It's got a little crunch to it.
That is one of my favorite breads of theirs too.
Yeah, they make a lot
That
of
is
great
so
stuff.
good on its own.
Yeah. Well, that's what my wife said. I said, should I take some bread and tomatoes and all that kind of stuff? She says, no, it's good on its own. And I thought, like, well, let's just make it look a little nicer. Do something a little
But
different.
she knows what she's talking about. That's unbelievable.
So there's a little turkey there.
He's such a man. Now you do some great watermelon
Hey,
as
so-
a side dish, right? And Kim's great with watermelon. I love a good watermelon.
My wife was at Miles Market the other day, and they said the watermelon's the best today. It's on sale. She brought it home. It was the best.
Really? Now I have to go to Miles Market and get some because it's my favorite thing.
Hey, and while I'm talking about people, I met a kid named Matt over at Pinecrest at Three Palms, and he says, my mom's your favorite viewer. And
Does he work there?
So I wanted to say hello to
Does
Matt's
he
mom
work
today.
there?
Yeah.
I met him too, I think, the one time, and he said, hey, what a sweetheart he is. And because he's young, and I thought, you know who we are?
Well, you
And-
know, for me, everybody's young.
No, well, that's not true.
Yes, it is. Okay.
It's delicious.
Okay, so I'm going to carve some more up because I see a whole bunch of our guests and people hanging around here.
I know, and they look like they're a little bit hungry over there. So
They're
we might be able,
eyeballing the
we'll be able
turkey,
to
right?
feed because again, I'll share today, so we'll be able to share and feed everyone here in studio. That's delicious.
Thank you.
Okay.
Here, you know, I want to tell people about this. I didn't have time before. This Cumana avocado sauce. This is my new favorite thing.
Well, that
It's almost
sounds
like
delicious.
that chimichurri sauce that comes from South America, and it's spicy. You like spicy,
I love
right?
spicy.
And it's a little bit sweet, so it goes nice on this turkey. So
That looks
yeah, I like that stuff.
delicious. Speaking of food, and I know I'm going back to Little Burritos, even though it's not